Dr. Lisa Martinez looked up from her coffee cup when the sky turned dark. She was sitting in her office at the University of Washington, working on her research about alien life. The morning had been normal until now. Outside her window, massive, black ships blocked out the sun. They were bigger than any building she had ever seen. The ships made no sound as they moved slowly over Seattle. Lisa grabbed her phone and tried to call someone, but the phone was dead. Across the city, Captain Jake Morrison was at the military base when alarms started going off. He ran outside and saw the alien ships. His radio crackled with confused voices from other soldiers. Nobody knew what was happening. The ships just hung there in the sky like giant metal clouds. People all over Seattle stopped what they were doing. Cars pulled over. Workers came out of their buildings. Everyone looked up at the strange ships. Some people took pictures with their phones, but the pictures came out blank. The ships seemed to block all signals. Then the light came. Blue beams shot down from the ships. The light touched buildings, streets, and people. Everything the light touched began to disappear. Not destroyed, just gone. Buildings faded away like they were never there. Cars vanished in the middle of the road. People screamed as they watched their city disappear piece by piece. Lisa felt the blue light hit her office. The world around her became fuzzy. She tried to run, but her legs would not work. The last thing she saw was her coffee cup floating in the air before everything went white. When Lisa woke up, she was lying on a cold metal floor. The air smelled strange, like burnt plastic. She sat up and looked around. She was in a huge room with metal walls. Thousands of other people were with her. They all looked confused and scared. A man in a military uniform walked over to her. His name tag said Morrison. "Are you hurt?" he asked. "I don't think so," Lisa said. "Where are we?" "I think we're on one of those ships," Jake said. "I remember. The blue light, then nothing." Around them, people were talking in worried voices. Families were looking for each other. Children were crying. An old man was trying to use his phone, but it still did not work. Near the front of the room, a woman was trying to get everyone's attention. She had short brown hair and wore a business suit. "Listen to me," she called out. "My name is Amy Collins. I work with computers. We need to stay calm and figure out what happened." A big man with gray hair joined her. He looked like a soldier. "I'm Ben Harper," he said in a loud voice. "I was in the Marines for 20 years. Right now, we need to work together." Amy looked at the metal walls around them. These walls, they looked like they were made by someone very smart. But not human smart, different smart. More people gathered around Amy and Ben. Lisa and Jake walked over too. Amy was studying a strange panel on the wall. It had symbols that looked like nothing Lisa had ever seen. "I think these are controls for something," Amy said. "If I can figure out how they work." A new voice spoke from nowhere. The words sounded wrong, like someone was trying to speak English but did not know how. "Humans of Seattle, you have been selected for processing. Do not resist. Compliance will reduce suffering." The voice made everyone go quiet. Even the children stopped crying. "Processing?" Ben asked. "What do they mean by processing?" The voice spoke again. "You will be sorted by usefulness. Strong ones will work. Smart ones will serve. Others will be recycled into useful materials. This is the way of the Vorthak Collective." Lisa felt sick. "They're going to use us like things." Jake's face was angry. "Like hell they are." Amy was still looking at the control panel. Her fingers moved over the strange symbols. "Wait," she said. "I think I understand some of this. It's like a computer, but different. If I press this," a small screen lit up. Strange writing appeared on it. Ben looked at Amy with respect. "How did you do that?" "It's just logic," Amy said. "All computers work the same way, even alien ones. They process information. I just had to figure out their language." Around the room, other people were starting to organize. A doctor was checking on injured people. A teacher was keeping the children calm. A mechanic was looking at the walls to see if there was a way out. The Vorthak voice spoke again. Do not attempt escape. Your species has been harvested many times, across the galaxy. Resistance is futile. Accept your fate. Ben laughed, but it was not a happy sound. They don't know humans very well, do they? Amy kept working on the control panel. More screens were lighting up now. I'm getting something, she said. Maps maybe, and these numbers, they might be coordinates. Lisa watched Amy work. She had studied alien life for years, but she never imagined meeting real aliens, and she never thought they would be so cruel. Jake was talking to other military people in the room. They were making plans. Even without weapons, they were thinking, like soldiers. The ship around them made a low humming sound. Lisa felt the floor vibrate. They were moving. Where are they taking us? Someone asked. Amy looked at the screens she had activated. Far away, she said. But I think I can send a message home. If I can figure out their communication system. Ben put his hand on Amy's shoulder. Do it, he said. Let Earth know what happened to us. As Amy worked, Lisa looked around at all the people in the room. They were scared, but they were not giving up. They were already planning and organizing. The aliens had made a mistake. They thought humans would be easy to control. They were wrong. President Helen Crawford stood in the Oval Office staring at the satellite images on her desk. Where Seattle used to be, there was nothing. Just empty ground with perfect circles where buildings once stood. 750,000 people were gone. Tell me this is some kind of mistake, she said to General Marcus Stone. The general shook his head. No mistake, Madam President. Satellite footage shows everything. The ships, the blue light, the disappearance. Seattle is gone. Helen picked up one of the photos. Her hands were shaking. Alien ships? Yes. We tracked them leaving Earth's atmosphere at impossible speeds. They're gone. Dr. Kevin Price, the head scientist on the team, stepped forward. We found debris, Madam President. Pieces that fell off their ships. The metal is unlike anything we've ever seen. The technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours. Helen put the photo down. How long before they come back? We don't know, Marcus said. But we're not waiting to find out. Within 6 hours of Helen's order, every military base in the world was working on the same mission. Find the aliens. Get the people back. Make sure this never happened again. At Area 51, Dr. Kevin Price led a team of scientists studying the alien debris. The metal was light but stronger than steel. The electronics inside used principles that human science was just starting to understand. Look at this, said Dr. Rita Barnes, one of Kevin's team members. She was holding a small piece of alien metal. It conducts electricity, but also stores it. And these patterns in the metal, they're like computer circuits, but three-dimensional. Kevin studied the piece under a microscope. It's not just technology, it's art. Whoever made this thinks differently than we do. In another lab, engineers were trying to figure out how the alien ships could fly so fast. The debris showed traces of elements that did not exist on Earth, but the basic ideas seemed familiar. They use fusion power, said engineer Carol Swift, but they found a way to make it much more efficient than ours. If we can copy this. At the Pentagon, General Marcus Stone was meeting with military leaders from around the world. Maps covered every wall. Red pins marked every military base on Earth. We're converting everything, Marcus told the group. Every factory, every lab, every resource we have. We're going to build ships that can follow them. General Patricia Hayes from the Air Force raised her hand. Sir, we don't even know where they went. Marcus smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Actually, we do. He pressed a button and a new image appeared on the screen. It was a message in English, but the letters looked strange. We received this transmission 2 hours ago, Marcus said. It came from deep space, from our people. The message was short. We are alive. Coordinates follow. Fight back. Amy Collins, Seattle survivor. Dr. Kevin Price read the message again. How did she send this? She must have figured out their communication system, Marcus said. which means our people are not just sitting around waiting to be rescued. The coordinates in the message pointed to a star system 300 light-years away. With human technology, it would take thousands of years to get there. But with alien technology... How long until we can build ships? Helen asked during her next briefing. Kevin looked at his notes. If we work day and night, maybe 2 years for the first prototype. But Madam President, we've never built anything like this before. Then we learn fast, Helen said. What do you need? Everything, Kevin said. Every engineer, every scientist, every factory. We need to rebuild our entire space program around alien technology. Helen nodded. You have it. Across the country, normal life was stopping. Car factories started making ship parts. Computer companies began working on alien technology. Universities canceled regular classes to focus on the rescue mission. At MIT, students worked around the clock studying alien mathematics. At Boeing, engineers designed new spacecraft using alien metals. At NASA, astronauts trained for combat in space. But the most important work was happening in secret labs where scientists studied every piece of alien debris they could find. Dr. Nina Foster discovered that alien weapons used focused energy beams. It's like a laser, but it can cut through anything, she told her team. If we can build these... Meanwhile, in space, Amy Collins was still working on the alien ship. She had learned to read some of their symbols. The aliens called themselves the Vorthak Collective. They had been harvesting people from planets for thousands of years. Amy found star maps showing hundreds of worlds the Vorthak had attacked. Earth was just the newest target, but the maps also showed something else. Vorthak bases and supply routes. She managed to send another message to Earth. Found their map. They have weaknesses. Strike at Kepler Station first. Amy. When the message reached Earth, General Marcus Stone called an emergency meeting. She's giving us targets, he told his staff. Our people up there are doing reconnaissance. On the alien ship, Ben Harper was training other humans for combat. Without weapons, they had to be creative. They learned to fight with tools and improvised weapons. They studied the alien guards and learned their weaknesses. The Vorthak guards were tall and thin. They relied on their energy weapons and armor, but they moved slowly and did not seem to expect resistance. They've been doing this for so long they've gotten lazy, Ben told his group. They think we'll just give up like other species did. Lisa. Martinez was working with Amy to understand more alien technology. Their computers store incredible amounts of information, she told Amy. I found records of other harvested species. Most of them just accepted their fate. We're not most species, Amy said. Back on Earth, the first human ships were taking shape. They looked nothing like the elegant alien vessels. Human ships were rough, thick, and covered with weapons. We're not trying to be pretty, said engineer Tony Rodriguez. We're trying to win a war. Dr. Kevin Price had made breakthrough. Human fusion reactors powered by alien technology, faster than light engines based on alien designs, weapons that could punch through alien armor. We're not copying their technology, Kevin explained to President Crawford. We're making it better. Humans are good at taking ideas and improving them. The first ship was ready for testing after 18 months of work. It was called the Vengeance, and Admiral Carol Swift would command it. On the day of the first test flight, people all over the world watched. The Vengeance lifted off from a secret base in Nevada. Its alien-human hybrid engines glowed blue as it accelerated past the speed of light. The test was successful. The ship reached Kepler Station, a Vorthak outpost, in just 2 weeks. Phase 2 begins now, President Crawford announced to the world. We're going to get our people back, and we're going to make sure this never happens to anyone again. But nobody on Earth knew what was really happening on the Vorthak ships. The humans, they were not just surviving, they were planning, and their plans were about to change everything. The UES Vengeance dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Kepler Station. Admiral Carol Swift stood on the bridge, looking at the alien outpost through the main screen. It was a large metal structure floating in space, surrounded by smaller Vorthak ships. Just like Amy's intelligence said it would be, Carol told her crew. They're not expecting us. Captain Tony Rodriguez checked his weapon systems. All guns ready, Admiral, The new hybrid weapons are charged and ready. Carol nodded. The weapons were Dr. Nina Foster's design, human nuclear technology combined with Vorthak energy systems. They had never been tested in real combat. Open a channel to all ships, Carol said. The human fleet had 12 ships. They were smaller than the Vorthak vessels, but they were faster and carried more weapons. This is Admiral Swift to all vessels, she announced. Remember why we're here. Our people are prisoners somewhere in Vorthak space. Today we start getting them back. The Vorthak station detected the human ships and sent a message. The alien voice sounded confused. Unknown vessels, identify yourselves. This system is claimed by the Vorthak Collective. Carol smiled. This is the human warship Vengeance. We're here to shut you down. The Vorthak commander sounded annoyed. Humans? Impossible. Your species was harvested. You have no space travel capability. We do now, Carol said. Surrender or be destroyed. There was silence for a moment. Then the Vorthak commander laughed. You cannot threaten the collective. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Carol looked at Tony. Show them what humans can do. The Vengeance fired its main guns. The hybrid weapons cut through the Vorthak shields like they were not there. Explosions rocked the alien station. The other human ships joined the attack. The Vorthak had better shields and armor, but the human weapons were designed specifically to destroy them. Within minutes, the station was heavily damaged. Impossible, the Vorthak commander screamed. How do you have such weapons? We learned from your technology, Carol said. Then we made it better. The battle was over in 20 minutes. The Vorthak station was destroyed. 3 Vorthak ships tried to escape, but the human fleet was faster. None of them got away. Tony looked at the debris floating in space. That was almost too easy. They weren't ready for us, Carol said. They've never fought anyone who could match their technology. But the real surprise came when human Marines boarded the damaged Vorthak ships. Led by Captain Ryan Clark, the Marines found something unexpected. The aliens were afraid. They've never had to fight hand-to-hand, Ryan reported to Carol. Their whole war strategy is based on having better technology. When we got past their shields, they didn't know what to do. The captured Vorthak soldiers were tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. They moved slowly and seemed confused by human aggression. Your species is wrong, one Vorthak prisoner told Ryan through a translator device. You fight without honor. You use crude methods. Ryan laughed. Crude methods win wars. The Marines searched the Vorthak ships and found important information. Computer files, star maps, communication codes. Everything Earth needed to find more Vorthak targets. Back on Earth, the news of the victory spread quickly. For the first time since Seattle disappeared, people felt hope. President Helen Crawford held a press conference. Today, humanity struck back, she announced. The aliens who took our people have learned that humans do not give up. We do not surrender, and we do not forgive. In the secret labs, Dr. Nina Foster was already working on better weapons. The Vorthak shields failed because they're designed to stop energy weapons, she explained to her team. But our hybrid weapons use both energy and matter. They can't defend against both at the same time. Engineer Steve Chen had an even bigger project. He was building planet-killer weapons based on Vorthak technology. If they want to threaten Earth, he said, we need to be able to threaten their worlds. On the Vorthak harvest ships, Amy Collins received news of the victory through the alien communication system. She had learned to hack into their network without being detected. Earth is fighting back, she told Ben Harper and the other survivors. They destroyed Kepler Station. Ben grinned. It's about time. What's our next move? Amy showed him a map she had stolen from the Vorthak computers. We're heading to a processing center. That's where they take prisoners to be processed. But if we can escape before we get there, we take over this ship, Ben said. I've been watching the guards. They're not soldiers. They're just workers. If we hit them hard and fast. Lisa Martinez had been studying the other prisoners on the ship. There are beings from dozens of different worlds here, she told Amy. Some of them have been prisoners for years, but none of them have ever tried to escape. They've given up hope, Amy said. We need to show them that resistance is possible. The escape plan was simple but dangerous. Ben and his team would attack the guards during their shift change. Amy would use the confusion to access the ship's main computer. Lisa would organize the other prisoners, but they had to wait for the right moment. Meanwhile, more human ships were arriving at other Vorthak outposts. The aliens were starting to realize that the harvest of Earth had been a mistake. On the Vorthak homeworld, the High Command held an emergency meeting. How did the humans develop space travel so quickly? Demanded Supreme Commander Zexai. They used our own technology against us, reported Intelligence Commander Vortan. Somehow they reverse-engineered our systems and improved them. Impossible. No harvested species has ever done this. The humans are different, Vortan said. They do not accept defeat. Our psychological profiles show they are more aggressive than any species we have encountered. Zexai stood up from his command chair. Then we destroy their homeworld before they can build more ships. But it was already too late. Human ships were appearing throughout Vorthak space. Each victory gave Earth more alien technology to study and improve. Admiral Carol Swift's fleet had grown to 50 ships. They were hunting Vorthak supply convoys and destroying communication relays. Every attack weakened the alien empire. They're starting to retreat, Tony reported during one battle. Their ships are running instead of fighting. Carol watched a Vorthak cruiser flee from her much smaller human ships. Good. Fear makes them make mistakes. The Vorthak Empire was learning what it meant to fight humans. For 10,000 years, they had harvested weaker species without resistance. Now they faced an enemy that got stronger with every battle. On Earth, factories worked around the clock building new ships and weapons. Every day, more human fleets left for Vorthak space. The hunt was just beginning. But Amy Collins knew the real battle was still ahead. The Vorthak had millions of ships and controlled thousands of worlds. Earth had won some early victories, but the war was far from over. She looked at the alien star maps and smiled. Let them come, she said. Humans are very good at war. General Patricia Hayes stood in the war room at the Pentagon, surrounded by holographic displays showing battles across the galaxy. Red dots marked human fleets. Blue dots were Vorthak forces. The red dots were winning. Fleet strength report, she said to her aide. 2,000 human ships now operational, General. Another 500 launching this week. Patricia nodded. Earth's factories had been converted to produce nothing but warships. Every nation on the planet contributed resources. The entire world was focused on one goal: destroy the Vorthak Empire. Captain Ryan Clark commanded the human fleet at the Battle of Proxima 7. His ships faced a Vorthak defensive line of 50 heavy cruisers. The aliens had chosen their position, well, the narrow space between two gas giants where human ships could not use their speed advantage. They're learning, Ryan told his crew, but not fast enough. Instead of attacking directly, Ryan ordered his ships to ram the Vorthak vessels. The human ships were smaller, but their hulls were reinforced with alien materials. The impact destroyed both ships, but humans could build new ones faster than the Vorthak could. All ships ramming speed, Ryan commanded. For Seattle, the human crews shouted their agreement. These were volunteers who had lost family and friends in the harvest. They were ready to die to hurt the aliens. The Vorthak commander watched in horror as human ships smashed into his fleet. They are insane, he broadcast. They destroy their own ships to destroy ours. That's the point, Ryan said over the radio before his ship hit the Vorthak flagship. The explosion lit up space for millions of miles. In her laboratory on Earth, Dr. Sandra Miller made a discovery that changed everything. She had been studying captured Vorthak soldiers and found something amazing about their biology. They're not really individuals, she explained to the military commanders. They share thoughts through biological radio waves. It makes them very organized, but also very predictable. General Marcus Stone leaned forward. What does that mean for us? It means we can jam their communications and make them stupid, Sandra said. If we can block their mental links, they can't coordinate their attacks. Within days, human ships were equipped with new jamming devices. The effect on Vorthak forces was immediate. Their careful battle plans fell apart when their ships could not communicate with each other. Captain Julie Banks led the attack on the Vorthak supply depot at Wolf 359. Her jammers turned the alien defense fleet into confused individual ships that attacked their own allies. "Look at them," Julie said, watching the chaos. "Without their hive mind, they're helpless." The depot fell in hours instead of days. Human Marines found warehouses full of technology and supplies meant for the Vorthak war effort. Everything was loaded onto human ships and sent back to Earth for study. But the most important discovery came from the captured alien computers. Engineer Matt Thompson found the location of the main Vorthak fleet and the harvest ships carrying Earth's prisoners. "They're at the Vorthak homeworld," Matt reported to President Crawford. "All of them. They pulled back their forces to defend their capital." Helen looked at the star chart. "How many ships?" 10,000 Vorthak vessels, Matt said. "Maybe more. It's the largest fleet ever assembled." "And our people are there?" "Yes. Amy Collins managed to send us the exact coordinates of the prison ships. On the Vorthak homeworld, Amy was putting the final touches on her escape plan. She had spent months learning the alien computer systems. Now she could control parts of their ship without the aliens knowing. Ben Harper had trained over 300 humans for combat using improvised weapons. They had metal bars torn from the walls, chemicals stolen from alien laboratories, and explosives made from ship components. "When we move fast," Ben told his team. "Hit every guard post at once, no mercy." Lisa Martinez had convinced prisoners from other worlds to join the rebellion. There were beings from dozens of species on the ship, all waiting for someone to give them hope. "The humans are different," Lisa told them. "We do not accept slavery. We fight back." The alien prisoners were amazed by human determination. Most of their species had surrendered immediately when the Vorthak arrived. But humans kept fighting even when it seemed impossible. Back on Earth, Admiral Carol Swift was preparing the largest fleet in human history. 5,000 ships, each one armed with the best weapons human science could create. "This is it," she told her captains during the final briefing. "Everything we've built, everything we've learned comes down to this battle." Captain Tony Rodriguez raised his hand. "Admiral, the odds are still against us. They have twice as many ships." Carol smiled. "They said the same thing about David and Goliath." The human fleet assembled at the edge of the solar system. Ships from every nation on Earth joined together for the final assault. American destroyers flew alongside Russian cruisers and Chinese battleships. The flags were different, but the mission was the same. Dr. Kevin Price had outdone himself with the fleet's weapons. Planet-killer missiles that could crack worlds, energy cannons that could slice through space stations, and the new quantum bombs that could destroy entire fleets at once. "We're not just going there to rescue our people," Helen Crawford announced in her final speech to the world. "We're going there to end this threat forever." The journey to the Vorthak homeworld took 3 weeks, long enough for the aliens to prepare their defenses, but also long enough for Amy Collins to complete her sabotage. She had planted computer viruses throughout the Vorthak fleet. When the human ships arrived, half the alien vessels would have system failures. Their weapons would misfire. Their shields would collapse, their engines would explode. 20 years of computer programming finally pays off, Amy said as she watched her viruses spread through the alien network. Ben Harper was ready with his fighters. The moment the ship's defenses went down, they would attack. 300 humans against 3,000 aliens. But Ben liked those odds. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Vorthak system. Before them was the alien homeworld, a massive planet surrounded by defensive stations and thousands of ships. "It looks impossible," someone said over the radio. Carol's voice was calm and confident. "So did building these ships. So did learning their technology. So did everything we've done for the past 2 years. We're humans. Impossible is what we do." The final battle was about to begin. Earth's children were coming home, and they were bringing the fury of an entire species with them. On the prison ships, Amy Collins smiled as her viruses activated. Alien systems began failing all over the fleet. Ben Harper hefted his improvised weapon and looked at his fighters. "Ready?" he asked. They were ready. 2 years of anger, planning, and hope had led to this moment. The Vorthak Empire was about to learn what happened when you took humans from their home. The war was almost over. Admiral Julie Banks watched the Vorthak homeworld grow larger on her screen as the human fleet approached. Behind her, 5,000 human ships moved in perfect formation. Each ship carried the hopes of every person on Earth. Range to primary. Targets? She asked her weapons officer. 50,000 kilometers in closing, replied Lieutenant Danny Cooper. All ships report ready to fire. On the Vorthak homeworld, alarms were screaming. Supreme Commander Zexhai stood in his command center, staring at the impossible sight before him. The humans had brought a fleet larger than anything the Vorthak had ever seen. "How many ships?" he demanded. "Sensors show 5,000 vessels," reported his aide. "All armed with hybrid weapons. Our shields may not hold." Zexhai's hands shook. In 10,000 years of conquest, no one had ever brought war to the Vorthak homeworld. "Activate all defenses. Call back every ship in the Empire." But it was too late. Amy Collins had done her work too well. As the Vorthak tried to organize, their defense, computer viruses spread through their fleet. Ship after ship went dead in space as their systems crashed. On the prison ship where Seattle's survivors were held, Amy smiled as alien lights flickered and died around her. "Now," she said. Ben Harper and his fighters struck at the same moment. 300 humans with improvised weapons attacked their alien guards. The Vorthak were caught completely off guard. They had never expected their prisoners to fight back. "Take the bridge," Ben shouted, swinging a metal bar at an alien guard. The creature fell with a strange whistling sound. Around him, other humans were overwhelming their captors with pure fury. Lisa Martinez led the other prisoners in capturing the ship's armory. Alien weapons were complicated, but humans learned fast. Within minutes, the prisoners were armed and dangerous. The battle for the prison ship lasted 20 minutes. When it was over, 3,000 humans and aliens from dozens of worlds were free. Amy immediately sent a signal to the human fleet. "This is Amy Collins on the prison ship Liberation. We have control. All prisoners are safe. Repeat, we have control." Admiral Julie Banks received the message as her fleet began its attack on the Vorthak defenses. "All ships, this is Admiral Banks. Our people are fighting for themselves up there. Let's give them some help." The human fleet opened fire. Thousands of weapons struck the Vorthak defensive line at once. The aliens had never faced this kind of coordinated assault. Their careful battle plans meant nothing when half their ships could not respond. Captain Matt Thompson commanded a group of human destroyers attacking the orbital defense platforms. His ships moved like wolves, striking fast and disappearing before the aliens could respond. "Platform 7 is down," he reported, moving to Platform 8. Each platform that fell opened a hole in the Vorthak defenses. Human ships poured through the gaps, heading for the planet's surface. On the ground, Vorthak civilians watched in terror as human ships filled their sky. Many had never even heard of humans before Seattle was harvested. Now these strange beings were bringing war to their peaceful world. Supreme Commander Zexhai tried to rally his forces, but the computer viruses had crippled his communication systems. His orders reached only a few ships at a time. The great Vorthak fleet was falling apart. "We surrender," he finally broadcast on all frequencies. "Please, we surrender." Admiral Banks heard the surrender offer and laughed. "Too late for that," she said. "You should have thought about surrender before you took our people." The human assault continued. But this was not mindless destruction. Human forces targeted only military installations and government buildings. They avoided civilian areas and hospitals. President Helen Crawford had been very clear about the rules of engagement. "We are not monsters like they are. We fight their military, not their people." As the battle raged in space, Amy Collins was leading a rescue mission throughout the Vorthak fleet. Her computer skills allowed her to locate every prison ship in the system. Human Marines, led by Ben Harper, boarded each vessel and freed the prisoners. "How many species were they holding?" Ben asked as they moved through another ship filled with alien prisoners. "Hundreds," Amy said. checking her stolen Vorthak database. Some of them have been slaves for generations. They've never known freedom. The freed aliens watched their human rescuers with amazement. These beings fought with a ferocity that terrified their captors, but showed mercy to their fellow prisoners. On Earth, people gathered around television screens to watch the battle. For the first time in 2 years, they saw their missing family and friends. The prison ships were broadcasting live video as humans and aliens emerged into the light. Dr. Lisa Martinez appeared on screen, helping an injured alien child. Her parents wept as they saw their daughter alive and safe. Captain Jake Morrison was shown leading a group of freed prisoners to safety. His wife screamed with joy when she recognized him on the news. The Battle of Vorthak Prime lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the great Vorthak Empire was broken. Their fleet was destroyed or captured, their government was in ruins. Their homeworld was occupied by human forces. Admiral Julie Banks stood on the bridge of her flagship as it entered orbit around the alien planet. Below her, Vorthak cities surrendered one by one. "Admiral," her communication officer said, "We're receiving surrender messages from Vorthak outposts all over the galaxy. Word is spreading that their homeworld has fallen." Julie nodded. "Send a message to all of them. Any Vorthak forces that surrender will be treated with mercy. Any that continue to fight will be destroyed." In the main government building on the planet's surface, Supreme Commander Zexhai waited for his human captors. When Amy Collins entered the room, he fell to his knees. "Please," he said through a translator. "My people meant no harm. Harvesting is our way. We did not know humans were different." Amy looked down at him with cold eyes. "Different how?" "You fight back," Zexhai whispered. "No other species has ever fought back." "Then you picked the wrong species to enslave," Amy said. The formal surrender took place 3 days later. President Helen Crawford traveled to the Vorthak homeworld to sign the peace treaty. The terms were simple. The Vorthak Empire would be dissolved. All enslaved beings would be freed. Vorthak worlds would be governed by the new Terran Federation. "Why do you not kill us all?" Zexhai asked during the ceremony. "We would have killed you." Helen looked at him with something like pity. "Because we're not you. We're better than you." The galaxy watched as humans kept their promise. Instead of enslaving the Vorthak, they gave them freedom. Instead of destroying their worlds, they helped them rebuild. The same species that had fought with such fury now showed remarkable mercy. Dr. Sandra Miller was put in charge of helping former Vorthak worlds transition to independence. "They're not evil," she explained to skeptics on Earth. "They're just a species that never learned to see other beings as equals. We can teach them." Within a year, dozens of worlds petitioned to join the Terran Federation. Humans had proven they could protect their allies as fiercely as they destroyed their enemies. Amy Collins became the first human ambassador to the Galactic Council. She stood before representatives of 1,000 species and delivered Earth's message. The age of conquest is over. The age of cooperation begins now. Back on Earth, Seattle was rebuilt exactly as it had been. But now it had a new monument in the center of the city. A black stone wall with the names of everyone who had been taken. Above the names were simple words. They came home. Captain Jake Morrison, now a general, stood before the monument on the 2nd anniversary of the harvest. Thousands of people were there, survivors, families, and visitors from dozens of worlds. 2 years ago, they took our people, he said. They thought we would forget. They thought we would give up. They were wrong about humans. We never forget. We never give up. And we never abandon our own. In the crowd, Dr. Lisa Martinez held her daughter's hand. The little girl had been born on the Vorthak prison ship and had never seen Earth until the rescue. Now she played with children from a dozen different species, all citizens of the Terran Federation. Ben Harper, now head of the Federation military, watched the ceremony from the stage. The old Marine had found his purpose in protecting not just humans, but all the free species of the galaxy. And in her office overlooking the rebuilt city, President Helen Crawford, now president of the Terran Federation, read reports from across the galaxy. Former Vorthak worlds were prospering under human protection. Trade routes that had been closed for centuries were opening again. Species that had been enemies for millennia were learning to work together. The harvest of Seattle had been meant to destroy human hope. Instead, it had ignited human fury. And that fury had shattered the chains that bound half the galaxy. The Vorthak Empire was gone. In its place stood something new, a federation built not on conquest, but on cooperation, led by the species that had refused to be harvested. The galaxy had learned an important lesson: never threaten Earth's children. Humans might be willing to forgive, but they would never forget, and they would never stop fighting for freedom.